These days, it's getting increasingly harder to get into gaming. Not only are consoles in extreme shortage, but there's this whole other issue of inflation creeping up on us as well. And with scalpers trying to sell you that $800 PS5, it feels like there's no point of even trying anymore. But hey, we've got some ways for you to save money and continue gaming to your heart's content. So let's get straight into it. First up, physical games are still very much a thing. If you're someone who is only starting gaming seriously within the past decade or so, then the concept of physical games probably feels super alien to you. Like, why would anyone go out and deal with real people just to get their hands on a new game when you could just do it from the comfort of your own home? Oh, and don't even get us started on the whole midnight release thing, because again, why would any human being ever put themselves through that? Now, it's natural to think about all these things since we've come so far over the past few years. We mean there are literally digital-only consoles on the market now that don't even take discs. But if you've got a disc drive on your Xbox or PlayStation, trust us, you want to use it. Why? Well, let us explain. You see, with digital games, you're always going to pay what the publisher wants you to pay. Oh, and of course, if it's someone like Nintendo, then forget about any significant sales. Yeah, you might be able to snag a cheap code through a key seller or something, but even that's getting super rare these days. Physical discs, on the other hand, are always going to lose their value over time no matter how hard the developer pushes for them to be full priced. Like it's inherent to the media, since a physical thing's going to depreciate in value over time. So usually, if you walk into any store like GameStop, Best Buy, or Walmart, you're going to find some pretty sweet deals. Besides, it's a great way to catch up on your backlog, since older games are super cheap at these stores. Up next, buy your games in bulk during big sales. Okay, we get it. Not everyone has a console with a disc drive. We mean the digital versions are cheaper and a better value for most people. So if you can't walk into your local Target to get that Game of the Year edition for My Friend Peppa Pig, then that's totally fine. Instead, you can strategize your video game purchases by only buying when they're at their cheapest. Now, obviously, it's easier said than done, since there seems to be some sale on console storefronts pretty much every single month. However, the thing is, most of these are pretty meaningless and aren't actually that great of a value for your money anyway. What you want to do instead is wait for the actual big sales that only come around once or twice a year. For instance, the Steam summer and winter sales are hands down the kings in this space, with discounts going over 90% at times. For consoles, though, it's a bit different. Their seasonal discounts are spread out throughout the year, with the big ones usually hitting around Black Friday or the summer season. So for those, we'd suggest making a wish list for the titles that you want and snagging them whenever a substantial discount pops up. Also, we're totally not going to recommend you to change regions to a place like Turkey or Argentina and buy games for an even cheaper price. No, who would even suggest doing such a thing? Definitely not us. Also remember, the used video game market is your friend. Alright, let's make a slight pivot to consoles now. We know how hard it's been to snag a new Series X or PlayStation 5 console. Besides, even if they do show up in stock from time to time, scalpers with their bots take no time to eat them all up. So unless the store's got some actual queue or bot protection, you can pretty much forget about getting that shiny new hardware. With that said, not everyone's a scalper. Like, believe it or not, there's still some humanity left in this world, and people are actually willing to sell you stuff at retail price, or sometimes even less. Swiping through eBay and only seeing $800 PlayStation 5s can be a bit frustrating though, we get it, but all you've got to do is be patient and keep searching, because chances are that you're gonna stumble upon someone who's willing to get rid of their consoles without adding some ridiculous profit on top. Also, remember, a lot of people still trade in their machines at GameStop, so staying in touch with your local rep and asking him to inform you if they get any used stock can be pretty handy as well. Besides, even if you don't get the big boy Series X, you're surely gonna find a Series S for under $250 if it's used, which honestly is an insane value for that little beast. Now, bundle deals are usually pretty good too. Back in the day, bundles were a great way to push video game units, and to be honest, that still applies to the current market to an extent. However, these days, having an active user base is more important to console manufacturers than anything else, so their bundles have actually gotten much better in terms of value as well. For instance, if you get a Horizon Forbidden West PS5 bundle, which goes for around $700, you get a free game, a controller, and in some cases even a headset, so the total value already exceeds the amount that you're paying for this stuff. Besides, everyone who buys a PS5 should play the new Horizon game anyway. Another great thing about these bundles is the fact that scalpers can't really take advantage of them, since reselling a console with all of the accessories is a lot harder than it seems. So when these show up in stock, they stay for a couple of hours. All you need to do is stay on top and subscribe to a stock update page on Twitter or other social media. But bundles aren't limited to video game hardware only. As a matter of fact, games themselves has seen some pretty snazzy bundle deals over the past few years. For instance, Humble usually has their yearly charity drive that's got a lot of games included in it for an incredibly cheap price, plus other combo deals like the Jingle Jam collection or a publisher compendium are also pretty great, especially if you want to catch up on a single game franchise. For instance, Valve's got its complete package on Steam, which includes literally all of its titles like Half-Life, Counter-Strike, Team Fortress, Portal, and Left 4 Dead for just over $30. With that said, don't hesitate to use subscription services. Now, buying games is definitely the way to go if you're into going back and replaying some of your favorite titles. However, these days, it's almost impossible to keep up with the constant flurry of new releases, let alone go back and play older games. So it kinda doesn't make sense to keep stacking up on games and fill an entire room with your backlog. This is where subscription services come in. You see, over the past few years, the industry has slowly drifted into the Netflix model for video games too, as again, an active user base is better than copies sold. As a result, we're seeing the rise in popularity of services like Xbox Game Pass and PlayStation Plus Premium. Of course, it's natural to feel apprehensive about these platforms, especially if you're not used to them, since it's kinda like renting a game rather than owning it. Also, there's always a chance of a title leaving the service halfway through your playthrough, but the sheer value that's on display here is absolutely undeniable. Take Xbox Game Pass for example. At only $10 a month, you're getting over 200 games and access to all Microsoft exclusives on day one. Plus, while Sony's service isn't quite as fleshed out as that, it's still heading in that direction and has a lot of great exclusives on it. So honestly, it's hard to argue against these. Besides, you've always got the option to buy the games at an additional discount still. And finally, just have a bit of patience. Alright, this is perhaps the most important advice for saving money, because being late to the party's gonna save you a ton of money. Yeah, we know that FOMO's real and you don't want to miss out on the whole conversation around a new release. But is that interaction with someone on Twitter or Reddit really worth your $60? Probably not. Also, if you're that desperate, you could always game share with a buddy. Waiting for a couple of months before buying a new game though is pretty much guaranteed to save you a bunch of money. What's more, if you wait a couple more months, then you're gonna save even more. Oh, and you'll also circumvent the whole new game hype cycle, which usually comes with elevated reviews anyway. So by the time you get your hands on a title for $10, you'll know exactly what to expect. That's a wrap for this video. What's your go-to method to save money while buying games? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.